can't accept someone needing to own 51% of my business and they're local to Thai. And I don't know how the courts are going to play that out because it's like you're a foreigner, they're not. You should let them hold down a business. Like I feel like you basically could be starting a business to lose it to a Thai person as soon as you get there. So I don't really know. That's why I don't like that. Now I know usually they try to get somebody who's like not really that competent, but is just willing to receive some kind of payout to just put their name on it. I know the lawyer, like the legal kinds of entities know that you're more competent and that you have the money and things like that, but you're probably going to face issues with a visa or something like that. But I'm just saying, at any point in time, they could fuck you, and that's kind of what it looks like. Now, Thai doesn't have a culture like that. Most Asian countries do not have a culture to just fuck you over like that. I think the Philippines has more of that type of culture, but the Philippines has more of like a Spaniard influence anyway. So there's a lot of bars and clubs inside of Pattaya. There's so many, so many.
Let's get right into it. I got my man Sheen in the building today. What's going on, brother?
Yo, what up, man? How's everything?
Make sure you guys go check out BMT's channel. Y'all can watch the full video there, okay?
BMT?
Everything is excellent, man. Now, last time we saw you, you was in the studio. And we talked about bodybuilding and everything like that. But now, currently, and I want to congratulate you, man, you are at your own bar in Pattaya, man.
Yes.
How does that feel to have, have ownership out here?
It feels good. I want to say this is probably like my fourth business out here in Thailand, so I'm accustomed to it. But this particular business is a whole lot different from real estate.
So now watch what he's going to say, right? Because I think that the bar business is OD oversaturated inside of Pattaya. There's a bar or a club everywhere, right? But he's going to break down his own mathematics. I could speed this up a tad. All right.
The food truck and everything like this, whatever. This one right here is it's definitely the most profitable. I'll tell you that right now. Just starting this thing off.
Okay. And I want to ask you about that because you own a few other businesses.
Yep.
You're saying that the bar is probably the most profitable out of all the ones you started because you had a food truck and then you had, what else you had?
The real estate company.
Okay,
the Crocodile Farm.
Okay.
Yeah.
The Crocodile Farm.
Yeah.
Oh man, I love crocodile meat, man. Okay. So you say that pretty much the bar is the most?
Yes.
Okay.
So you're looking at the profit margins on a daily consecutive time frame. You see what I'm saying? So you're looking at 30 days, 31 days, depending on the month. And right now we're averaging, I don't want to throw the numbers out there, whatever, but we're doing over 700 a day.
Okay.
So
doing over 700, I mean, you kind of still threw the number out there, but he's doing over 700 a day in terms of like the profit margin by owning a bar in Pattaya, Thailand.
We weren't doing that in the real estate. You see what I'm saying? So at the most, we were probably selling a property once every 2-3 months. You see what I'm saying? But our main target was, hey, let's go ahead and get these tenants in these condos. Let's get these tenants in these houses. But now the whole dynamic shifted once I got into this particular style of business. The bar game.
And just in general, is it hard like starting a business here in Thailand?
If you know the right people, if you know the right people, and you do things the right way, and get the lawyers involved. That's the number one thing I tell people. Hey, get the lawyers involved. That's going to protect you.
Okay. And as far as like ownership, do you have to have like a special type of visa? Is it the visa first or the ownership first? How does that work?
So it depends on how you're positioned currently at the moment when you're actually looking at ownership or whatever, right? So you could be
said that 5149 though, I need to get past that. Yeah, bro. That's one of the reasons I'm very skeptical about starting business inside of Thailand. I can't accept someone needing to own 51% of my business and they're local to Thai. And I don't know how the courts are going to play that out because it's like you're a foreigner, they're not. You should let them hold down a business. Like I feel like you basically could be starting a business to lose it to a Thai person as soon as you get there. So I don't really know. That's why I don't like that. Now I know usually they try to get somebody who's like not really that competent, but is just willing to receive some kind of payout to just put their name on it. I know the lawyer, like the legal kinds of entities know that you're more competent and that you have the money and things like that, but you're probably going to face issues with a visa or something like that. But I'm just saying at any point in time, they could fuck you. And that's kind of what it looks like. Now, Thai doesn't have a culture like that. Most Asian countries do not have a culture to just fuck you over like that. I think the Philippines has more of that type of culture, but the Philippines has more of like a Spaniard influence anyway. So that's kind of why they're like that. But they're kind of the same where you can't really own your business. Like someone has to own it. So I think that's one of the reasons I've been kind of skeptical on that too. For sure.
Partner, silent partner, hey, you just invest your money, your name's not gonna be on the paperwork, that's when you have to do business with the right people, right? But if you wanna actually start the business yourself, you still have that problem, or not the problem, but you still have that dilemma of 4951.
Yep.
And that's where a lot of people is like, yo, hey, as a foreigner, I only have 49%, and the Thai has a 51%, and they think that they're automatically at a disadvantage. No, that's where you get the lawyers involved. Make sure that the paperwork is drafted and generated the right way, so where it protects you.
Okay.
So right, so they have to draft it in a way where somebody cannot just liquidate the business or just but I still don't really see how you get past the fact that someone owns 51% of your business. Like you still don't own the business, right? And it's like my thing is like, even if I'm getting most of the money and things like that, if this person decides, if they're smart enough and competent enough, or you run into someone who is competent enough to like derail the business, even if you are getting all of the money, they can derail the business. So if you had the potential to possibly earn $500,000 that year and they derail the business, now you're not going to earn that like you're not going to get that $500,000, right? So I don't really, you know what I'm saying? Or if they want to liquidate, like they want to sell the business, or now like sell the structures of like the entity, or sell your, supplies, or whatever that it is that they want to do. Who says that they need to wait for you to be able to sell that? And that's one of the things that I wonder when it comes to owning business in Thailand, because I see a lot of people, they put their all into trying to open up these bars and these clubs and things like that. However, I think that the profit margin must be so high and it must be great because there's so many people that's still opening these bars and clubs.
Okay, so you're saying you just got to have your lawyer situation straight before you even generally get into business out here?
Yeah.
Okay.
But then again, there's some people that come out here and they're like, hey, I want to open up a business to where I don't want locals inside the business. I haven't seen that before. You see what I'm saying? I've heard about people saying that, hey, I know so-and-so that did it, but I haven't actually met a business owner that said, hey, I own my company 100% outright. There's no ties and none of the paperwork. I haven't seen that.
Okay. I've heard that, but you say you haven't seen it personally.
Right.
Okay. And, on YouTube, you hear like a lot of horror stories about, guys or foreigners pretty much opening up bars and they're not successful, the money not what it is. What do you think those guys did wrong, per se?
I don't know, because I wasn't in contact with them, so I don't know exactly what their shortfalls were or their shortcomings, right? But I will tell you this. In order to have a successful bar, you need women, you need a pool table, and you need cold drinks. That is the appetite for success right there. Those three things. That's what you need. Now, I'm not saying that, hey, if you don't have those aspects, you're not going to have a.
What I'm also kind of wondering too, what percentage of the income is actually just a guy bar finding the girl versus selling drinks, right? Like how much of that money is just selling sex rather than just selling drinks? Not to say his business, because I know there are bars owned by black men inside of Pattaya where they don't sell sex and they don't let you bar find, or maybe they let you bar find but they don't like let you boom boom upstairs, boom boom okay, boom boom okay.
Profitable business. No, what I'm saying is, if you want an extremely good lucrative business, you need a combination of all three of those.
Okay. And usually, in my opinion, I mean, I've never owned a bar, but I used to promote bars and stuff back in the day. Even sometimes in Medellin, I promote different bars and everything. Usually, from what I've seen, and this is pretty much worldwide, it's like the mismanagement of money sometimes.
Okay.
Because everywhere has like a low season.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And you got to prepare for the low season basically, because Pattaya is seasonal.
Right.
For the most part.
Right.
I think guys like see the money, they're like, oh man, this is gonna always be like this, and then after Chinese New Year, it's like dead. Then you got Songkran, and after Songkran, it's dead. But when it's good, it's good. I think if you can weather through those times, I think you'll be all right.
Right. So, like you said, everything happens in seasons out here, right? You have high season, you have low season, right? So what I noticed when you're looking at doing business, and I'm gonna give you a gem right now. So when you look at businesses, a lot of businesses are created. Talking about new businesses, a lot of new businesses are created during the low season. That's when they do the renovations. They go ahead, get everything established during the low season. So as soon as you hit high season and you roll over that the tourist starts coming in, now they sell the business at a profit. So it might have took you like 10,000 USD to actually get this thing up and running. You go ahead, get your staff in there, they're operating. Now you have a proof of concept. Now you turn around, you sell it for 15, 20,000 USD. Because high season comes and now everybody's coming back into Thailand with money in the bank and they're like, yo, hey, I want to invest. So some people get burned off investments. Some people, hey, they have successful businesses or successful business transactions.
And these are the conversations I feel like we need to start having more of in this travel space, right? I understand some people are equipped to have these conversations and some people are not. For some of you guys, it's not really your niche. But like I was saying today, I like how he was talking about the selling of a business, right? So you can create the business during low season and during high season, which, just to make it simplistic for some of you guys that don't know, like low season is basically when a place is not seeing that much tourism. So because it's not seeing that much tourism, it's not seeing that much of an influx of money coming into their economy. High season is when you see a super influx, where now, because there's a super influx of people, the prices of things start going up. Because once the demand is more than the supply, price goes up. This is called economics, either micro or macro, I'm not sure. When there's a huge demand and low supply, price goes up. When there is a large supply and low demand, prices usually are supposed to drop. So low season is typically probably a good time to develop and build a business, right? And then when it gets into high season, he's saying this is typically when people can sell the business. So you can maybe, and I've never heard of numbers this low. I heard more people putting more like 30 to 60 to 100 grand into building a bar, which I would never put 100 grand in any business that I cannot own. Like where I can't own 99%. But in this case, he's just talking about the sense of like selling the business. Or you probably can just basically build the business during low season, run it into high season, and then make a profit, right? But he's going to break down how he basically hedges during low season, which I think was pretty intelligent.
Okay. And also, man, like, what's like I don't know if you own a bar or club in the States, but like, what's the big difference in, maybe the clientele in, New York versus all the way out here in Pattaya? Like, as far as the music, do you have to cater to different ethnic groups? Like, what if you get a busload of Indians and then the next day you get a busload of people from the UK? Like, how does that work?
So let's go back to your previous question, because I didn't finish it. I know it's kind of long-winded, but I didn't finish it, right? It's how do you prepare for those droughts or the low season, right? So with us, we're a crypto bar, right? So we accept crypto.
Oh, nice.
So what we do is we go ahead.
This is something I've been talking about for a long time that I was going to do in international business, and I'm working on, and we actually have this as a part of the Homies app as well. I'm going to share my screen and show you guys this, because once the Homies app launches, you guys are going to see that we have a crypto wallet in there too. International business. Hold on, let's get you out of here before you even start trolling. Goodbye. When it comes to international business, right? Having cryptocurrency is very imperative. If you have free running cash flow, he'll break it down. You take your free running cash flow and run it into cryptocurrency. I would also accept cryptocurrency, because if the cryptocurrency has the potential to grow, right? Even if I'm going to accept it in stable currency like USDC, I can then transfer it into Bitcoin, hold it in Bitcoin, or just purchase Bitcoin slowly, and then all of the income that I then got from selling items, I'm earning it in cryptocurrency. And I'm pretty sure Thailand government hasn't figured out a way to tax that yet. So there's a lot of ways to get rich. I be trying to just spread a little bit of my gems. I'm just taking a little bit of money, just putting it away, because eventually when I start my business, whatever business that it's going to be, I'm trying to see which market is going to be better for me to enter in terms of like me actually having a physical business somewhere. It's just smart to do, but let him break it down first.
We invest 5% of our monthly gross into crypto. So now we already did the projections. Only thing we need to do is to generate a total of 12,000 before we hit low season. And now that 12,000 is going to offset, is going to cover our rent.
So he's basically saying he's hedging about 5% of what he's making into cryptocurrency. And he basically puts that away just so that it can cover his overhead costs when they get into low season. So he's not stuck on bread, and probably it's going to see an increase, right? Still kind of risky, because Bitcoin is its floor right now is about 66,000 USD. It could possibly just shoot back up. I'm still purchasing every time I make a little bit of money. I'm cha-ching. So but it's risky, because if Bitcoin then drops, and I don't know how he's going to deal with that, he now is losing money that he now would have had. So it's a strategy. It doesn't mean it's the best strategy. It's smart. He's making money right now, you know, so he's on fire. He's on the green mode right now, but it could not work for him.
For 8 months.
Okay.
So that's our strategy. And I'll share that with you guys. That's where you prepare and you make sure that, you have no problems, no issues once you roll into the low season to where, the tourists aren't coming in as if it was back in high season.
Okay. And like as far as like catering to different groups, you like is it more like a hip hop crowd, or do you have to kind of switch it up sometimes?
So it's my clientele it's real different, right? So when you look at the majority of the people that's coming through the bar, spending money, enjoying themselves, talking to the ladies and stuff, we're looking at white males, pretty much from Europe, 50 years old and older. Now, mind you, I have young chicks too. You see what I'm saying? But that is the majority of my clients that are coming in and, you know, customers spending money. Now, yesterday, and it's funny, so we was kind of like up and down yesterday, and like around like 2:15, I was talking to my cashier and I was like, yo, hey, at 2:30 we're gonna shut it down. So she's like, all right, cool. So we're actually starting to shut down. Next, you know, six Indian guys walked in. Hey, we stayed open till 4:30. You see what I'm saying? Because they were spending money. You know what I mean? So our demographic goes, we'll say white European males, and then underneath that, we'll probably say brothers, you know, whether they're from England, America, France, and yeah, that's pretty much like my main clientele that comes in on a consecutive basis.
Okay, so let's just
now I'm not saying that.
Let's just bring you back up for a second, right? So Passport.22 says that's a low return on investment. Well, you're talking about him like starting a business for 10,000 and maybe selling it for 20,000. Yeah, I wouldn't want to see no profit margin like that. If I'm starting a business for 10,000, the minimum I need to see back is about 50K. I need to see 5 times my investment. But people have their own strategies for why they do certain things. So I'm not mad at it. The country you start a business in is important, needs a lot of tourism. Yeah. I think you should only start businesses inside of tourism countries, or you should start a business where it's going to start seeing tourism, right? Like I said, if you can get your ass to Venezuela, as soon as shit opens up, you need to start going there and just scouting and doing research. You know what I'm saying? Like people with the big bags are already making their own like connections there. You know what I'm saying? You can even match with some girls on Tinder and just start talking to them and just start getting an idea of the atmosphere. If you even know any Venezuelan shorties, you know what I'm saying? Start talking to them and start getting an idea of just like the atmosphere there. But a lot of Venezuelans will tell you that is not a place to even go right now. Like they're like hell no. Don't let the media fool you. We was just here. I just came back to see my dad. This shit is still a dump, and they will kill you. They will kill you over here. You know what I'm saying? So I would, wait. But I'm just saying, if you know something is going to open up, says Thailand is cracking down on foreigners who put businesses in Thai nationals' names. They are investigating a 51-49% partnership. I don't think they're cracking down on that because I think the government is in on that. They have a duty and an obligation to squeeze as much money out of people as they possibly can. So I don't think they're cracking down on it because it's putting money in their economy, right? Because it's like, oh, you're just trying to own, like, okay, so if you're cracking down on it, you're just making it so that the foreigner controls less or has to pay more, right? That's all they're doing. But they're not going to like crack down onto the point where they're like, oh, you can't open up this business and okay, so we can't own any business here. So, okay, so because most of the bars, I would argue, in Pattaya and clubs are owned by foreigners, right? And all of them have to pay a tax. They also pay the police extortion fee that's not official, but it's there. So it's like if you shut that down where they can't own business, then foreigners move out of the country. If they move out of the country and start putting their money elsewhere, how do you make money? So now you'll lose tourism to Vietnam like they already are, and you'll lose business to Vietnam, which they already are. So, that brother better be careful with the structure of the 51-49 business. I think he's careful. I think the fact he even already said that he's getting money in cryptocurrency, I'm pretty sure that he's looking into it. You think buying Bitcoin or XRP is better? Buy both. But I think Bitcoin is better. The one economist said BTC is a Ponzi scheme. The US dollar is also a Ponzi scheme, and we still use it. I get it, but he's getting hammered right now. So now BTC minus 30 on the year. He better not be holding XRP or ADA, but I wouldn't mind putting that into a stable coin. I would put all my money into a stable coin right now, and I would slowly just dollar cost average buy Bitcoin. That is what I would do. Stable coins right now are probably the smartest thing to do. The thing is, you don't want to miss a run, right? So you like holding all your money in a stable coin that could have been held in Bitcoin, and then Bitcoin goes on a run. I usually start putting money into Bitcoin when I start seeing it's like dancing around a floor for a long time. And then I'll put some money into Bitcoin. Now, sadly, the thing is, it could swing like the other way. And now you're down 30% of your income. I know I am. Like when it comes to Bitcoin, but then it could swing right, and now you're making money, and now you feel happy. So it's all just making sure that your emotions are in check. But yeah, I think owning a bar is cool. I don't really see how profitable it could be. Like I said, I think it's a really diluted business. There's a lot of people that own bars, and there's bar girls, and you know what I mean. Like, I think it's mainly for the foreigner. Like the weekend guy, or like the guy that's there for maybe a week or two. I don't know if it's necessarily for the guy who expats there, because you have so many endless bars and so many endless girls that you've already met, that you've already gotten to know. So you have to ask yourself, is it actually really worth it? You know what I mean? So, and then girls that don't want to work that hard, or don't want to come in, or they they get a boyfriend, from the bar, who is going to like start supporting her, and then she doesn't need to come to work, and a lot of BS. You just got to ask yourself if you want to deal with that. That's all. Okay. So nothing else to cover. Is that it? Is that it, chat? Do I have anything that I want to talk about before? Let me see. Let me take him off the screen.